Call the Ramsey County special meeting in order. Just everybody has their maps, you know what the issue is here. Approach out on the bypass road. Kevin, you can go ahead and tell us where we're at, I guess.
Yeah, at the last meeting, I guess we just, it was denied, Tom had stopped and talked to me about it and said that Close has got a dozer in there now that could probably get this done quickly, and I don't know how much longer the dozer's gonna be there, so.
I think he took it yesterday, to be honest with you.
Oh,
Right.
Anybody talk to Close?
I didn't, not about this anyway.
Okay.
Maybe you have.
I visited with him yesterday, but he said he was taking his cat out of the truck. He was cleaning up the ditches to go to work the day before.
At the last meeting, there might have been some questions for Tom, so I guess maybe this is a good time to ask him.
Adam, you visited with Tom?
I visited with Tom
You
yesterday.
had your questions answered?
Yeah, I just, it's as far as I needed to have anything answered, I guess.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, I'd like him to explain it to me, because I don't know.
Okay, we'll go to this map.
That one? Okay.
I can go up here.
Well, there's been an approach here since before I was born. And you can all, on this map here, you can see the traffic pattern right there. Right there,
Right.
okay? And that is right here. When this intersection, and I honestly believe this was just an oversight on KLJ's part. When this intersection was first put in, before I was born, whoever was born, this was a T intersection, okay? There's an approach going into this field, an approach into this field, and an approach into this field. And these two are still very visible. And what ended up happening here is over time, single axle trucks became tandem trucks, became semis. Lake Region Grain went from town to over there, and this became the truck route. This became a power corner. And you can see that right there. Well, this approach is supposed to be way up here, and now it's gone. The approach is part of the power corner. And that's why they missed it. When this was a farmstead here, there's a fence line way back when Bill lived here. It used to be a fence line that went to a pasture a half a mile to the east. And there was no way to get to the north side of that farmstead other than that approach right there. That was it.
Because it was fenced.
Because it was fenced. If we go to the next map, which is our green one, you can see this farmstead's right here still, this big shelter belt. In the wet years and in the really snowy years, this shelter belt holds a ton of snow. And it melts across here to this slough, and sometimes that'll stay wet till way into June, and you cannot cross here. So going to this farmstead to get to the north end here is, on certain years, is an impossibility. And that's why I'm requesting, we've always had access to this field. I'm not going to call it an approach because nobody considers it an approach anymore. But we've always had access to this field, and you guys revamped the road, and now our access point is gone. And all we're asking is you to replace the access point. And I honestly just believe it was an oversight because that corner became a power corner, and the approach is now part of the corner. It became such a power corner that they yielded this road and let this road have all the through traffic. Nobody ever stops there anymore. Any more questions? I visited with Paul yesterday, and he said that road potentially got pushed from 20 to 30 feet into that power corner. You know, to make that a power corner. True? I mean,
Yeah, the gravel is, about 20 to 30 feet wider diagonally to the southeast than it would be if it was designed. as a cross intersection like it should.
We never ever bothered with it because it was such a gradual, I mean, that power corner from the center of that road to the bottom is almost a 2.5 foot drop. It's pretty steep. And we were still able to come out of there, so we just kept, we never bothered by revamping it. But now, when they put the new corner in there and they've got that big ditch in there, and they've actually allowed it, we can't use it no more.
That picture is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
It was never really an approach, I mean, it was definitely an access point, but that part got missed as an approach.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't an actual,
We would have never put an approach in a diagonally in a cross intersection like that. It would not have been something we would have ever included in the design.
Yeah.
So it's,
But that's back before you and I were ever born. They're there, you can go look at the north two, and
I don't
everybody,
think anybody.
We always use the north,
oh, it's been
east
used.
and the northwest,
But
we
the-
always use that.
I think everybody will agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's-
it's been an
I don't
access,
care.
but it was not something that we would have ever replaced as part of the project.
Right.
Unless it's severed access completely to that property, and when Tom came in and, mentioned about that snow in the trees, if that's melting in the springtime when he's trying to seed it, I guess I could see that would sever the access. If it is getting as wet as what he says it is, it could be, like 300 feet across from there to the slough to the southeast on this map here,
Right.
about what the distance
Right here.
is.
Yeah,
And like he said, I mean, in those heavy shelter belts, in a heavy snow year, you'll see snow in there in June still. Still melting and keeping that saturated. So I could see where his point, I'm just saying that it's not something that we would have assumed would be replaced, being, having an approach in a day right at the inside of that intersection is not a safe thing to have at a cross intersection. So we didn't put it in the plans to do it.
but what you're saying then is that it's now not a cross intersection.
Right.
So you often put, put approaches on curves?
Not often, but here, we were at the radial, I guess we call it a radial T, where it curves in from the north
Right,
over to the new alignment.
right,
You're eliminating several conflict points there.
Yep.
We took out the old roads, and you don't have if we would've left those in, it would've been, a skew intersection, which those are a problem. I think it was the best solution in this case to have it there. We put the one to the northwest.
Yeah, and when you go out and look at it, I went and looked at it yesterday. I mean, there's only essentially, that's the only place you can put the approach really, because if you go further south, you're right on top of the trees and that's not safe at all.
no,
And if you go, you can go slightly more to the east, but you'd still be on the curve, and if you go any further east than that, you're getting down in the low ground and you don't want the approach down there to start with. And that's why it was up in that corner to start.
it wouldn't do any good to have an approach,
You,
because you'd be driving into a slough and you
Yeah.
can't do that, is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Okay.
you wanna enter that, you wanna enter the high ground, and that's where you're gonna enter the high ground, I mean, it's.
Is there an approach right here now?
No, the next one's past the sloughs to the,
Okay,
Next one's gonna be
over here somewhere.
so he can't access this property from that other approach.
At that point, Domer, it's a gradual ditch, you could call it another access point, but there is not an approach.
it is not an approach,
And if you did put one in, you'd have to put a culvert in.
Right.
Yeah.
It drains through there.
It's just
because it
draining
drains
the
through.
And up at the top of the hill there where the curve is, it kinda crests and it rolls downhill both ways, so you wouldn't need a culvert on the radial curve there.
So the cost would be less because of not needing a culvert, is that what you're saying,
Probably.
on the culvert, or on the curve there?
Yeah, essentially.
Is
Well,
that,
you-
that's the best place for
Well,
it, for you too?
you know,
Because the contractor told me that to have that come off that spur and have that approach right there, it would seem to be a plus side on the safety issue.
it's best for us too, because
You can get on there.
You're actually
when we come out of that farmstead and we got a 40-foot header and we're going north, you get blindsided. You lose your vision of angle right here. So if there's a semi here, by the time you come out, you'll meet there. The fastest and best way for our machinery is to cross that road and be out of there in 10 seconds. Be done. We got to the north there's another 400 acres we farm anyway. I mean, so we go up that road often.
That's what you're trying to get to.
Yeah, that's where we're trying to get to, is out of here and up that north road where there's no traffic on.
And we talked about safety concerns at the last meeting too, and when you drive out from the south, I actually drove our truck, because I was dropping off some beans, and I went out there and drove to the north, and when you look from the south going to the north around the curve, you clear the trees in enough time to see something.
Coming.
Fairly easily, yeah, you'd be able to see them coming off the approach.
Because it's only a 45 there.
Yeah, it's really not that bad coming from the south to the north, and you'd be able to see it from the east going down this, turning around the curve going south, obviously, no problem, so I really don't. I mean, it's not the best place to put an approach. If you could put one to the east, that would be the best, but since you really can't, I mean, it's the best solution, I think, out of what we can do.
Well, and there's, coming from the south, going around the curve for other traffic, the tree row blocks a pretty big triangle on the north, basically from the curve to the east, basically right where you want to have an approach, so
Yeah.
you'd see traffic crossing that road quicker if it was at the T rather than further
Over
east.
there, yeah.
Rather than
That's a
further.
good way to describe it.
Now, this is a federal aid road.
Mhm.
Are we gonna have any repercussions for putting an approach on that curve? I need an answer to that.
I did talk to Greg Schmanko, and he said it would not jeopardize any of our funding in the future, but there might be a better location for it, just for safety concerns, that was his comments. But it would not jeopardize any of our funding.
And I guess that was probably my biggest concern, is jeopardizing, funding, or having them all of a sudden say, you did this and now we're not gonna give you, we're not gonna release that money to pay for it. That was my biggest concern, other than the safety issue.
And he assured me that it would not jeopardize our funding.
They're just looking at it from their perspective too, we're getting a wider view of it now.
Exactly.
Sometimes here to tell us.
Oh, yeah, and that was the reason, like the other hand, I just wanted to get some answers about exactly, so we weren't going blind on it. I guess I got my questions answered, so.
I went out there and looked at it too. I mean, I understand where he's at, and I understand the safety issue. And now, you get the question answered that they're not gonna lock up any money on it. I'll make the motion to approve him to put the culvert in as long as he pays for it. Or the approach, as long as he pays for it, he can.
Well, there's the next issue. Since it was an oversight, are we obligated? I mean, we had access and you denied us access. I mean, I'd have been here in June if I knew in June this approach wasn't coming in. 2 meetings ago was the first time I knew this wasn't going in there, because I go up there and check the crops. And Greg was putting the black dirt in there, and I told my brother Dennis, I said, I don't think we're getting an approach. And we contacted Greg Close the next day and asked Greg when he was putting this approach in there, and he said it's not even on the plans. And that's the day I called Kevin Fieldson and got the ball rolling. And this was 2 meetings ago. And my honest opinion, I think it was an oversight. And I don't know, I don't know if it's our obligation, is what I'm getting at now. I mean,
But you had said that you would donate.
I would donate the fill. I mean, there's a hill right there.
Billy's not gonna yell at you for,
No.
okay, well, just so, because
He asked,
he's pretty
When they go-
particular about.
well, I know, but
Dirt.
when you guys ask for permits on here and you call him, he
Uh-huh.
calls us.
Right,
And he called us on this radius and said, you know what, they're taking 5 acres of my land up there, they want to put a power radius in there. I don't want them to put it in there, what do you think? Well, we just have to talk him into it's the best thing for the road, and, when Strata wanted to use dirt off that hill, he thought it was worth gold, and he said, we don't want to sell it. And I said, it's a hill that you can't ever use. The best thing for you is to mine it 10 feet deeper and farm. You really think so? Well, I mean, I'm not worried about capers.
Okay.
I'm with them.
okay.
Thanks for the help there.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well,
We
I mean,
appreciate that.
These guys have lived in Minneapolis their whole life, they really don't care what happens in Devil's Lake, North Dakota.
Right. Any estimate of what it would cost to put it in with donated fill?
Yeah, we did get an estimate from Greg. And it's $5,000.
Did we save that much money with the variance?
With the variance.
With the variances we did, you know, like with taking out the flaggers and all those different things that we did earlier?
With all that in the gravel.
Right,
You've already put it in your ground, okay.
this would be,
I was just hoping it could be a wash and then I wouldn't. Then I wouldn't have some other farmer coming in, or we wouldn't have some other farmer coming in and saying, well, you put that in for him, you better put it in for me, and that's my other concern.
the argument there though, it could be that this is a brand new road, so I mean,
It's a new road and, you know, it,
We eliminated the access point.
Is there, no question, and everybody in here, that there was access to that field?
there was access, there was an
Okay.
approach.
Well, then we're obligated to put that back.
then we need to put access back.
Yeah,
And I guess it's just a question then, what's the safest place? What's the least expensive place? And that's obviously on that curve because you don't have to use a culvert. And, I guess Adam went up there with a truck and says he can see, you know, clearly when going past the trees, so I don't have any other issues with it.
The northwest and the northeast corner, there's definitely, from that intersection now I'm talking, there's no question there's approaches there.
Well, there's accesses, but they're not
There's no
hooked up as approaches.
Well, not really approaches, but they're getting used as access.
Correct.
I mean, they're
Yeah.
Yep,
viable enough to just drive off.
So
Absolutely.
when you leave
It
this
probably
field
wouldn't
to
cost
go north,
$5,000 just to put a, you know, an access.
Right.
You don't have to
Right.
make it a nice.
They just need a way,
away and
Away and
yeah, you're not asking for
I'm
payment,
not
right?
asking for much, just the way in and out.
There's no culvert involvement, it's still gonna cost $5,000.
correct.
What's part
Just
of
for
it?
relocation?
You got stripping the topsoil, install 300 yards of fill, replace the topsoil and put the gravel back on.
Well,
You could probably get it done cheaper.
I guess what it comes down to.
Darn it, that recorder's going.
What it comes down to is, I think it's just plain and simple a misunderstanding. I mean, like you said, you would never engineer to put one back in the corner, because you don't consider that an approach, but he considers it an approach because it was his access point and it's communicated, so at that point, I think it's our responsibility to put the access point back in at our cost, I guess.
I guess I feel the same way, and I
I
think
use
it's,
a motion on that.
Well, he's got a motion on the table already.
You got one, Mark?
You wanna change your motion or you wanna?
I just don't wanna set precedent on everybody gonna come and want a culvert.
But this is a new road, I mean,
Yeah,
we've got that precedence right there.
I think we've
and
got an
I
answer
think we
to
do,
it.
I think we do, this is a new road.
I think the
We
difference
changed
is
the
we,
road.
we re-engineered it and we changed the difference. And it's-
but you know, you did make a really valid point about communication, cause I went out and drove this. You know, if you're on this north road, there's an approach with a culvert that goes to a slough. I mean, if you'd have talked to any of these landowners, they'd have probably told you to slide that, you know, to the west. I mean, one of
Mark,
those-
in KLJ's defense, that one you're talking about is a section line,
Okay,
and Ed and I talked about this. I someday believe if the oil refinery ever gets here, that section line will be blown straight to the south as a major road.
as a road, okay.
And then there'll be other developments going in there, so that one,
Exactly.
they had to put that
No,
on that
but
section
yeah,
line.
yeah, it's just a.
But sometimes
Sometimes there are times
approaches
where, yeah.
and should be
Yeah.
moved, and I think communication should be
Can you
open.
shrink that down
Yeah.
for us,
It's just
so
a
that
matter
we
of
can see
getting-
all the way over to the
Yeah.
section line?
The wheel might work, otherwise the,
You're talking right here.
is that as far as it goes?
Yeah.
Just slide it
Just slide
over.
it.
So, there you go.
Other way though, yeah.
There you go.
You're talking about the one on the east side.
That one on the east side, that's where,
Which one?
the one on the east side,
Right,
a little farther over.
section line's right here, so right here.
Okay. Now, is the
No.
proposal, no,
That's the border.
that's
No, that's the
the
border line.
border.
Section line.
That's the
Border
border
line.
line, section
You're
line.
Section line's right there.
That's the
You're
section
talking
line.
here.
That's the one that goes right to that.
Oh, okay, you're talking up
And that
here
goes
then.
right to the slough.
Okay.
And since that section line is not abandoned
Right.
or vacated,
Mhm.
Yeah.
then the approach.
You had to
Yeah.
put a approach in there, yeah.
that matches up with that big shelter belt. Down by where Summers and those guys
Where
are.
Summers and those guys are.
I someday think that will be pushed in there,
That might have your little
Oh,
more.
yeah, to take that whole corner.
if the refinery comes through.
There's an approach right here going south,
Right,
and an approach right here going south.
Right.
And there's one here going north.
Yeah. but getting across from that last section line and going west to get to your field isn't gonna happen
No.
if it's wet, you can't get there. Right?
Exactly.
Is that correct?
You can see, you can almost see the drainage in there, just to the, on the left side of your film there.
Yep,
Well, right below it, on the bottom of the screen is where strata went in now.
mhm,
So there's like 30 acres of
Right here.
gravel there.
mhm,
That goes through that whole system. And actually where that farmstead is that we're talking about,
mhm.
that is separate than the east part of that field on certain years. I
Right,
mean,
because of.
when it's wet out, that becomes a jungle up there to try to get around.
I was gonna say, how do you get to the southeast corner across that ditch?
You come up section
Come
line,
up the section line from
I
the
mean,
south.
it's like a mile over there. It's a mess.
Yeah, it's not, so I just said, if the water refinery goes in there, there's gonna have to be a lot of. Where the one should be.
Okay, Mark, did you say you want to put that in?
Yeah, I'll amend that to put that.
I'll second.
Do you have a second on that?
Can you read your motion?
No, I can't, because I didn't write it down, but I can tell you my
Okay.
motion. The motion is to allow them to put in a approach with and allowing KLJ to have a change order to move paperwork.
That'll be closest chamber.
That would be closest change order, and then we should put in the motion that the fill is being donated.
Okay.
I guess the closest proposal is based on widening the ditch and using material out of the back slope.
Yeah.
So there isn't any,
So there's no need for fill.
Nothing will have to be hauled in.
not, it's within the right of way, the county owns it already.
Yeah.
Oh,
Back on the
Oh,
back
okay.
slope, there's enough dirt on the back slope, in our right of way to.
To do it.
You won't have to haul it either.
Okay.
Well, you have to push it.
Push it
to
around.
Yeah,
the
push it.
spot, but
Yeah.
within a
But you
couple
don't
hundred
have to
feet
haul
of the
which
road.
actually.
Okay.
So then we don't need that in the motion.
Let's not mix this motion up anymore, we got it like 6 lines long.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, I can fix it.
You got it?
Motion by Olson, second by Lightfon, to have the county put in an approach on the truck route with the change order through closed construction. Is that good
Okay.
enough?
And it will wind up with that other road, just for that little extra safety.
Do we want to put where it's at?
Station
You wanna
50 plus
finish the
28, right.
What do you wanna say again?
What now?
Or
There's that,
across from the radio T.
right, there's that double T arrow there, still has to go in there, that's a 2-post sign. So we'll have to try and keep that out of the way of his equipment.
You still have to put that sign in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'd have to.
What?
we still would put it in because it's not a through road.
What are you
But we
talking?
could slide it
This-
to the right
this-
or to the
Right here.
southwest a little bit. Like
Right,
over Ramsey
Cody
County.
Shanko did mention that, didn't he?
You did?
Yes.
You're gonna have to move it over then?
Yeah,
Well, you're gonna have to move it out of the way of the, where the.
You move the
You
approach.
move the sign
approach is.
over and just angle it a little bit so they can see it from
We
the
shift
stop
the
sign.
approach a little bit and the sign a little bit, just to kind of.
Share.
So, and then maybe we can push it out from the road a little bit further, so you can get around it. Maybe back on the,
Back on the back.
Yeah, because you don't
slope.
want it to,
Well, let him finish.
Back on, it'd be back towards the back of the back slope a little more, so it's more out of his way.
The sign will.
yeah.
Okay,
I think you guys can figure it
sounds good.
sounds like an engineering
out.
thing.
Yeah, you guys,
Any other?
between the three of you guys can figure it out.
Go out there and help.
That was the least of my worries when I was visiting with Paul, is the sun.
Okay.
Take a 40-foot section out there and park it. Make sure that you can get through there.
Any other thoughts, questions?
I just have one question, is this part of the land that is proposed to be purchased by,
Yes. And the other thing is the refinery I heard is going from that farmstead south, and Paul also heard that. They're gonna try to stay to the south edge. So then I think, they've got 440 acres bought, and they only need like 240.
Right.
So I think we're gonna be able to farm like 150, 60 acres, and I believe it's going to be all the north edge. And there's another reason why this approach would be very helpful for us.
that makes it more feasible again in my way.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Heisler,
Aye.
Mertens,
Aye.
Lightfon.
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Brown.
Thank you, guys.
That's the only item on the agenda, we're done.